All right,
What's up?
we're at it. We're back.
That's right.
Fan
Second week.
Addicts.
Drew's on the freaking podcast again. Loving life. Having a blast. Getting used to the camera, being in front of it, not behind it.
Yep. Well, we won't lie, we're a little off schedule this week, so we like to start out with what'd you do this weekend, but we haven't quite hit the weekend yet because I got to travel next week. So today we can say, what are you gonna do this weekend?
Yeah. We're hitting a little cabin trip up in the Montañas somewhere. Hang out there, go fish and shoot a little bit. So
Montana, where's that?
that's Spanish for mountain.
Oh,
Yeah.
local.
Yeah, local.
Hmm.
I don't know, actually. I have no idea where we're going. I'm getting in the truck and gonna time travel. See where it
Nice.
takes us. What about you?
No big plans. Just supposed to pick up the Datsun from Sandblast finally on
Yeah.
Saturday morning and probably dilly-dally around with it and get my act together and off selling fans next week. Working, be hooking up with our Staffco friends in Illinois and Wisconsin.
Nice. It's cold out there right now.
Get out there and do that and do it to it.
That'll be fun.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess we'll get this thing underway, right? So,
Yeah, we got some talking points here. Just kind of want to tell you a little bit about YS Tech and why people would choose us over, some other company. And that was the big question was, I wrote it down last week. I was like, why us? Why do people like coming to us? So figured we'd hit on that a bit today. We got some
yep.
talking points to go over and get her done. So, in a few sentences, what does YS Tech do for our customers?
We're just out there trying to help people solve their thermal problems.
Okay.
Right? In simple terms, that's what we're doing. So, when we say thermal issues, we would be solving them by way of active cooling, which would mean if you put a fan in your application, or, if you've got a design that does not need active cooling, we'd say passive, right? And that would be like a heat sink or something that isn't mechanical and turns on.
Gotcha.
Right. So that's the difference between active and passive solutions. So we do both.
Nice. So mix of hardware and engineering evaluation for our customers.
Yeah. Ultimately, our fan would be going in their hardware. I guess fans could be kind of considered that, but you're a component of the hardware that's being designed. Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha. So when somebody comes to us, what are they trying to accomplish?
There's a lot of ways of how people go about looking for things, right? So, and it can be very industry specific, but some people are coming in looking for a standard fan. That's what most of the industry do.
Yeah.
And then other times you might be looking for a customized solution or something because you have a unique combination or a unique device, right? That just doesn't have a standard part
Okay.
that would work. So, that's part of our engagement is to see, hey, can we hook you up with a standard product and be good to go, or do we need to do something special for you?
Right. And we're very good at that.
Yes, sir.
So what makes our approach about everything different?
We really, well, this, and with our people here, we want to be consultative or consultative, whichever word is right.
The
Probably
dictionary
neither
would
one
know.
of them. Versus transactional.
Yeah.
Right? Transactional meaning, okay, we got a part number, we got it in stock, we don't have it in stock, here's the lead time. But when we consult with each other and understand it, we can help provide engineering services if you don't have those in-house,
Right.
and be able to figure out what your solutions are, right?
Yeah.
Because you have different levels of technical abilities within a business, right?
Yeah.
Some companies have thermal engineers that know how to do their own CFD, and they'll go do all their own work, and they can come to me and say, Charlie, this is what we want.
Yeah.
Other smaller companies may not always have that, so they may
Right.
have an idea, and they come to us and be like, hey, here's our idea, here's what we got going on, help us figure out what we need.
Yeah, and we just had somebody come to us and, send us their file for whatever, and we gave it to engineering, and they're going to run a CFD for it, and
We did.
yeah,
And that one started out, right, with them like, hey, we're looking for a blower that we could use in this application. And we're like, okay, well, what is it that you're doing?
right,
Why don't you show us? And he shows us, and we're like, bro, that's a big old casting, and
yeah,
it's got this, that, and the other thing, and we can do all that. And he's like, oh yeah,
yeah,
okay. And we're like, hey, did you do a simulation on it to know what you need exactly? And he's like, no, that's what we're trying to figure out. And we're like,
we
we
got you
got you.
covered, yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Jinx. So anyway, and on that note, that's a great example. That lead came in over the website last week. And actually, I was just looking at engineering feedback today, and we should have the simulation done and processed hopefully by the end of next week. So
that's quick turnaround
we're
time too,
typically about a 2-week turnaround
yeah,
on design, and that way you're getting to know exactly what your system is doing based on the heat sources that are in there. So you're not doing trial and error,
right,
right? Some people, it's like, hey, you got your part, you want to run it, trial and error, you can play with it, do all this stuff. That's great. We'll hook you up with samples all day long.
right, right,
Other guys, when you don't even know and don't have time, right? That's when the simulation's really going to help you out, because
yeah,
then you get your part, you bring it in, you got your prototypes, and hopefully you're nailing it. And it's not like, oh well, let's try it again.
yeah,
Let's get another set of samples, or let's remachine this, or let's do
right,
that.
and that can be very frustrating with customers. I mean, you think you
Expensive
get
and
it
time
right, yeah,
consuming.
exactly.
Yep.
So once we understand sort of where we're at in the process with getting the engineering evaluation done, we've got samples identified. What are we doing after those steps?
Well, just in the middle of that, right? So we got kind of two or three avenues,
Mm-hmm.
right? Before we get further past it, right? You've got it to where it's like, okay, we do a simulation. That's like the most, collaborative
Right.
and the most specific,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the result of that kind of leads into the next point is, I think what we're the best at is modified standard product,
Correct.
right? So you say, okay, we always try and coach you into something that's already tooled,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we might say, how much real estate are we working with? How do we get it in there? And then we're like, oh, well, hey, we can coach you into a standard model. And then maybe you need a little value added or a little of
Right.
this, we can get all that going. Or it's like, hey, you just need a standard part, good to go,
Right.
right? Sometimes we can give you an estimate without doing a full simulation, and that's the simplest thing.
Mm-hmm.
So once we've accomplished that, then we're talking about just getting some samples going.
Yeah. And are we expecting people to come in with, a full list of needs and like space limitations, performance? Are we expecting all that, or is that something we can kind of work out?
Well, we need it, and those are what we would start asking questions
Mm-hmm.
about, right? Because sometimes you don't think about all the other things, and we're just coming in and being like, okay, you know, I mean, the key things that we have to know to help you out are A, what size fan do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Or what size do you have to accommodate a fan,
Right.
right? Because then that's going to say, all right, do you have a noise requirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you might say, hey, I can't be any louder than 40 dB.
Right.
And then that's where we would ease into it, and we'd like, okay, how much airflow do you need? What's your operating point? All those things are helping. And if you say, hey, I've only got 40 millimeters and I got to be under 40 dB, but I need 100 CFM.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, you're fighting a losing battle. Unfortunately, the answer is not always heck yeah.
Yeah.
You might be like, all right, we need to reconsider here.
Yeah. See what we can kind of compromise on.
And that's where you got to look at, okay, the space, the amount of pressure, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where you just start digging into everything.
Yeah.
So, are you using PWM? Do you have power constraints, or do
Mm-hmm.
you limited on how much, amperage you have to drive the fans if we're in high performance applications,
Right.
like servers and stuff where fans start having a lot of current draw.
Yeah. I got you. So we hit a little bit on rapid prototyping with the turnaround time with engineering and all that. So why don't we talk a little bit about our lead times? So production lead times right now, um, I believe we're sitting at 12 to 14 weeks.
That's getting it into the US.
Right, right.
But I mean, it's a manufacturing lead time. Yeah, it depends on the week that you inquire, but it's 8 to 10 weeks
Mm-hmm.
for manufacturing.
Gotcha.
So, we when it That's very reliable, and we just came out of Chinese New Year, so it's like things are going pretty good right now. We just opened a new headquarters,
Mm-hmm.
which I'll do a whole episode on that because I'm actually going to Taiwan the week after next
Nice.
for the grand opening.
Mm-hmm.
And but no, we're firing on all cylinders in the production front right now. When it comes to logistics for everything, we're good at that because if you're just using a CM and you're over doing it in Thailand, we'll drop ship to Thailand.
Yeah.
If you need stuff here in the States, cool, we'll stock it for you here in California if you want.
Yeah, it's perfect.
If you're using a CM in Mexico and we want to dodge tariffs and all that kind of stuff, I mean, we're drop shipping stuff straight into Mexico,
Right.
or it can go in bond and you dodge tariffs. But I think the point is that we are very open book and easy to work with drop ships and tariffs and all these different things that are so cumbersome on the business side of this,
Yeah.
right? Getting the right fan is one thing, and then actually getting the fan
Right.
after the fact is another thing in today's world.
Yeah. And the partnership doesn't end after we ship. I mean, it's a constant thing that we're striving to be great at.
Right. So it's I feel like there's a long journey to get the part approved, and we certainly enjoy developing our working relationships.
Mm-hmm.
People always ask me why, just like you did, why YS Tech. I've always said I truly believe 50% of that is a working relationship.
100%.
I
Yeah.
mean, we all do this all day, every day. We want to be a little bit funner
Yeah.
than your average fan experience because people don't enjoy fans in general just because they're an active part and they make noise and reliability and this and that. So
Yeah.
we hope to bring the best all around experience, both from the administrative side and the technical side. And, I mean, a lot of our key accounts today, have been customers for 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you give us a chance and let us show what we can do for you, I think we certainly can differentiate ourselves from the Deltas and Sunons and Sanyos of the world with
Yeah.
much more personable and family style support.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and I've heard you talk about it, bridging the gap. You want to hit on that a little bit?
There's so many gaps in our worlds today. So whether it's performance or price or stock or whatever, we really look to bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
Pricing can be one. Sometimes you might be working into a design and you say, "Hey, Charlie, we got to have a $2 solution,"
Yeah.
right? And so you that's like identifying the key criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Price sometimes is key. Noise is sometimes a key. Pressure, size. And so it's like looking and digging into those specific subject matters so that we can get you to where you need, get you across that bridge that seems like sometimes you just can't pass it.
Yeah. I love it. Well, I think we've hit on our main points of, why people should be choosing us. And
Yeah, and it all starts with you too, right? Drew does SDR work for us, and he's the tip of the spear, so to speak. And
Yep.
so we're getting out there, we're calling. You guys can check in with him, and it's all about just helping people out with their thermal stuff, and hopefully make it as pain free as possible.
That's why we're here every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like if you guys got anything going on, or you want to test the waters with us, reach out. Drew's your starting point.
Yeah, I'll have our information below too. So if you want to reach out to us or give us a call, it'll be there for you whenever you need it.
That's right. And if you're working on stuff and you're like, hey, that's all good, but I don't need any design help, I just need some fans, or I'm interested, we give out free samples. If you want stuff to play with, test, check it out, see what's going on, just reach out. We'll hook you up.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for now, and we'll get back with you next week.
Cool. What do we say?
Keep it cool.
That's right.